Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, we're live on a Friday, October 22nd at 11:57 a.m. Topic today is quite interesting. It's something that I don't fully understand myself. I don't think many people fully have a grasp of it. They have highlights or hints of how things behave, but there's no a certainty with regard to how things are going to execute. What you have are properties, protocols, monetary policy, pressures that are being experimented with. And the only thing comparable to the topic of discussing is really central banks and the way they handle reserve assets and the relationship with those assets in the commercial banking system, which has fundamentally changed of late, which is another story. But generally speaking, there's three assets that I'm talking about: Ampleforth, time, and ohm. And the concept of rebasing. Rebasing is fascinating how the money supply changes based on price action, where the money supply may change, but you are constantly owning a percentage of total money supply. Um, you can't do this in legacy finance really, because the total money supply is controlled by a single smart contract, and ownership of a percentage of the money supply is just a record in that smart contract as a collection. So when I say collection, I mean from a programming sense. It's just a KVP map. It's a hash map. It's a collection. An owner is a key, and the quantity of ownership is the value. So literally, a contract is able to adjust the entirety of money supply across unlimited amount of owners instantaneously. Literally, seeing into everyone's bank account, so to speak. It's like the Fed or whoever controls money supply able to tap into every single bank account and adjust accordingly. It's very powerful, very meaningful, very controversial, but it's played out very interestingly. And I think the more and more um, I understand the experimentation that's going on. I've been accumulating, savings account, 100, 200, 300,000. For me, it's in the thousands, like 1,000, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 here and there, which is, I'm not dumping 30% of my capital into time, guys. If I was smart, I would have provided initial liquidity to the protocol, and that would have been another story, but I didn't. So the way I think about it is the way general public actors should think about these types of assets. I think they're quite meaningful to collect and accumulate. Collect and accumulate means not necessarily from external sources of income, from like work, like bringing capital into the crypto space, but yield. Yield in the crypto space, there's no reason you can't allocate it to something. Allocate it to what? Allocate it to something that's potentially going to outperform. Outperform, not necessarily because of trading, but outperform because the monetary policy is experimental and it's price appreciative. And I think the three most fascinating monetary policies in all of the crypto space are certainly ohm, an Olympus DAO, and the protocol is more than just a monetary policy. The Treasury building and Olympus Pro, it's a whole another story. It's a bit mutually exclusive. But Wonderland and what Daniel's and team are doing with uh, RPGs and stuff like that, that's going to be a whole nother story. So that's downright fascinating, you know, and Ampleforth, which has been around for quite a while, which finally got their universal vaults up and running, by the way. So you can see the title. Let me pop it over to the main screen. Curve looks pretty cool. But Ampleforth was just added to Aave. And I took a small position. It's cranking out 16,000% returns right about now. And the geysers. So Ampleforth geyser at ampleforth.org. The Aave A Ample. So when you deposit Ample into Aave, you get A Ample. And it's called their Splendid Pilot. Paying out 61% on A Ample, and A Ample's cranking out 15,000% right about now, which is going to dilute. It's inevitable. Depending on borrow demand, it's going to dilute, but borrow demand is also going to fluctuate. 2.89 million. If more people deposit or if less people borrow, that the deposit APY will continue to go down. But of those A ample, you pop them in here. You got to wrap them first into UBA ample, unbuttoned A ample. And if you're done wrapping, you could stake the UBA ample, and you'll get 61% on your value. 86.2 days left. So this is brand spanking new. This is pretty cool. 0.07 ample. And ample, I think this is quite intriguing to say the least. I'm finding rebasing assets more intriguing because they're on the fringe of monetary policy experimentation. I wouldn't treat them as an investment. I would never allocate a significant amount of the portfolio to them. It's not it's not something suitable for my top allocations, but I find it fascinating from a savings and the value accumulation standpoint. So that's my take. That's my initial take, boys and girls. 42 people in the stream, 10 likes. We can do better. Thank you very much. Checking out my intro, my initial take on rebasing assets. I mean, literally building treasuries. That's crazy. So what Daniel and Wonderland's going to do with the RPGs? That's some crazy sauce. And what they're probably going to be selling bonds with regard to Popsicle. Why the hell are you going to why spend money to incentivize liquidity to populate like ICE LP positions when you could just use the treasury assets to buy the liquidity? People get a discount. They're getting discounted ICE, and Popsicle is going to own their own liquidity. That's crazy. Everything that Olympus is doing, I talked about them initially. I remember telling you guys, as I always talk about things, restraint. I let things digest. I'm never early. I'm never late. And I've digested to the point where I would say these aren't assets to allocate a large amount of capital to, but I find them downright fascinating. If anything, they're innovative and on the threshold of something very meaningful regarding as they compare to historic monetary policies done by sovereign central banks. Ooh, we're gonna drop the bank interchange interest rate. Oh, the Fed's gonna drop interest rates. Oh, they're so innovative. No, man, this is some innovative shit. This is the innovation. This is the stuff that's interesting. You just have to figure out how to deploy to it, how to be rational, applying capital to it. And this one caught my eye. I think over the coming days, I'll probably start to accumulate a little Omen time. I guess I got myself a little disappointed with time because of how much I could have had. Same with Ohm. But that doesn't discount I shouldn't approach it rationally as a savings vehicle. And this was caught my eye. If you look at what's it, Ave Ample? It was just launched. It was like 20 hours ago. So that's what caught my eye. Plus, with the geyser, you got 15,000, 60% times 15. The yield on, so look, it's getting diluted really quick. 11,000% times 60% is a massive, massive, massive number. Massive number. Let's hit some comments. Crypto Bets is in the house. Klaus is in the house. Professor J, crypto guy, sup? Alex, my man, Crypto Bets. How about that curve chart? Let's take a look. So it hit up against long-term historic resistance, was rejected yet again. This is the fourth interaction with historic resistance. If you go out to the weekly chart, oh, damn it. See, so if you go out to the weekly chart, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it's heading in the right direction. The congestion, the TWAP is much closer to historic resistance at this point. Finally, we're getting some closes above this channel of price action volatility. It's just literally just going up and down in this channel. This is a heck of a region right there, dating back here. Because as you can see, if you go to the daily, we'll get a little bit more fine grained detailed. I like those. There's nothing specific about top and bottom here, but this was about a region where we found some resistance, and this was about a region where we found some support or historic resistance actually. So if you notice here, look, this was historic resistance. Not really support, but look over here, support, a clear support where you have a candle body, a wick that went way below it and it stayed above it. So this is a case of historic resistance, flip support. It'll be nice when this top green line turns into resistance, flip support. That means we're getting really close, and that's when you start to see it ping pong in here a little bit, and then boom, and maybe we see a resistance and then a flip support and then the higher high. But man, talk about price action on this asset. This is not a normal asset. I mean, a lot of the assets in the crypto space are turning out to be not normal assets, considering the supply disruption that's going on for this asset. It's extraordinary. It's a huge amount has been removed from circulating supply. It's basically a deflationary asset that has a capacity to print money in the sense of an MMT currency producer. It has hyperinflationary emissions, but it's net deflationary. What does that even mean? Central banks are going to study this thing at some point. A hyperinflationary asset that's just emitting huge amounts of capital that's net deflationary from a total circulating supply standpoint. Wow. What a spectacular asset. So this is, look at this monetary policy compared to Ampleforth and rebasing and time and ohm. These are fascinating examples of some serious innovation and that's why they're just on my radar. They're very much Curve is a significant portion of the portfolio at this point. Significant. Let's keep it going with the commentary. Patrick, here we go. This topic is fascinating. Yeah, I like the rebasing assets more and more. I like algorithmic stablecoins more and more. People were afraid of them because they didn't understand them. And protocols kind of turned on the Ponzi-nomics a little too aggressively, like Iron Finance and folks. You can't be too aggressive. You have to let these monetary policies mature, stabilize, and entrench themselves in a population. You can't have runs on banks. You have runs on banks in the legacy finance. You have a run on a bank because there's fear. What you have to do is establish confidence in a population of consumers of a particular money product. So it's part psychology, executing a proper money system. You have to establish faith and trust and all these things. And that's exactly why Daniel says he's doxed, he's public and open. That's why I do what I do. Everyone knows me and my name. So people have a sense of trust. They have a face. I'm a real person. Hi, I'm a real boy. And that's what this whole thing is. So that's why Iron Finance collapsed. It went up way too fast. They were too aggressive, and no one trusted it. So they saw it plummeting and they sold it. So it was a bank run. Literally, that's what Iron Finance said. They said nothing malfunctioned. It was just a bank run. So where did they fuck up? They fucked up with the human factor. They fucked up with the social media and the marketing. They went too aggressive on allowing too much debt. That's exactly why, if you look on Abracadabra, you see a lot of zeros where you can't take out more debt. They want to prevent it from going too fast. It needs to solidify. It's like emitting liquid jello. You got to wait for the jello to get cold in a refrigerator because otherwise it's just going to be a hot mess. So you let some out, solidifies. This is the worst analogy I could possibly think of. But so you just can't overdo it. You got to let things solidify and form a base foundation. That's the deal. That's what I see. And many regards, empirically, that's what's been playing out. We're able to see and deduce and measure uh, based on actual things that have occurred. That is what occurred with Iron Finance. That's not what occurred with Frax. That's not what occurred with Dye. That's not what's occurred with Spell and Mim. Something is different. And what is that differentiating factor? Prudence, time for maturation, the human component of creating a money system. Which brings me always back to Christine Lagarde of the ECB that said these aren't currencies. She has no idea what a currency is, apparently, because if it walks like a currency and talks like a currency, it's a damn currency. Oh my God, this is money. I don't know what these people are smoking in their high perch of the ivory tower up at the central banks. But this is some incredible monetary policy governing the properties of money, building faith, building trust. What more do you want? The only difference is instead of a sovereign, instead of a country doing it, you have protocols and decentralization. You can never do this with free banking, however many years ago. You can never build this type of global product, this global money system, this global reach of a private money years ago. It was local. It was a little tiny bank on the corner of whatever street in Detroit or what kind of reach does it have? It doesn't have a global reach. These have global reach. These assets. Curve is owned by people all around the damn planet. This is very different. This is so different this time. I can't express it enough. I have not looked into Super Farm. Plenty of people talking about it. I don't need to be early most of the time. Tyler, what's up? What's up? Can't decide on one. Okay, that's cool. Finally made the live stream. Thanks, Noah. I've really enjoyed learning from some rational people. Heck of a crew. Heck of a crew up in Discord. I say after party on Discord, but those boys are rational. They're not partying. Those boys are rational up in there. It's really cool. Klaus, allow all these prefixes. Prefixes? What, on names? Possibly. Crypt Guy, do you have to buy Ample to put in Aave, or can you get into it with, say, USDC? Well, man, you can't borrow it because if you borrow it, you're going to be borrowing at 26,000% interest. So I wouldn't want to borrow at 26,000% interest. So I took a couple dollars. I literally, when I say I took a couple dollars, it might have been like for my portfolio size, it's probably like a $5 bill. I took $5. So for the love of God, don't take 50% of your portfolio and fuck up a portfolio. Take 50% of your portfolio. Please don't do that. This makes no sense. If you have $1,000 portfolio, take $20. If you have a $10,000 portfolio, take $100. If you have $1,000,000 portfolio, fine. You could probably afford like $1, 2, 3, 4, $5,000. That's some numbers that I'm trying to express to you the size of position I took. Some couple extra bucks, okay, guys? Don't get all, antsy and excited that I'm playing around with something that's not curve and not spell for once in God knows how long. Oscar, first time making the live stream, watching the replays daily. Keep up the great work. Pretty good. Pretty good daily streams, boys and girls. The chat got disconnected. Oh, great. That's lovely. Google just signed me out. Thanks, Google. Maybe it'll sign in really easily. Come on, baby. Sign in. Yay, that was easy. All right, let me catch up to where we were. Comments. I made the live stream. Here we go. That was easy. Fed is boring. Yeah, they are boring. Foo Bear, do you see fragility being introduced while the complexity of the Daniel ecosystem is self-reinforcing? Some big phrases. Time will tell. There's always fragility. There's always uncertainty. There's always doubt, and over time, there's less and less fear. That's just the way it works. Andrew, good morning. Thoughts on stable coins that will be backed by U.S. Treasuries? Yeah, they're going to be controlled, regulated, tracked. They're going to have uh, um, capital controls placed on them. I don't trust any of that shit. I don't trust treasuries. I don't trust government. I don't trust the agencies. I don't. The SEC is not protecting me. I don't need their protection. Thank you. I didn't sign up for it. Leave me alone. Go away. I don't need you at the SEC to prevent me from using 1-inch exchange. I don't need you at the SEC preventing me from getting a $75,000 DYDX airdrop. Thank you. Because of you, I did not get $75,000 worth of additional income. So the SEC, where do I send the bill? Because of you. You did that. So anyway, I don't trust the government at all. I have no interest in their protection. Now, local government, fine. Local government's cool. And military is another story. But I don't trust these agencies' financial protections. They're just, I don't know, whatever. I don't want to get political. Professor J, Noah going 3 by 3? No, because I know you boys got some serious positions probably. I know you boys are running around with Ohm and Time as like 20% of the portfolio. So I'm certainly not going 3 by 3, my friend. But, fine, okay. I have digested the monetary policies and I find them palatable, appealing, intriguing, fascinating, innovative, and exciting. I think Olympus DAO might be one of the most important technological innovations in the DeFi space in the last 2 years. Um, and Wonderland is just awesome because it does the same thing because it's using the base code, but it's just so much more because it's a different ecosystem. One and two, there's no such thing as competition. The TAM, the total addressable market for all this shit, you might as well have $0 in Olympus and $0 in Wonderland. There's so much room for expansion. It's irrelevant to even think of competition. So it's just trivial and short sighted at best to think there's competition between the two. You could have countless reserve assets, probably more reserve assets in the crypto space than you can in legacy finance. It's all experimental. There's probably no limit. So I'm just downright fascinated by the notion of building treasuries and owning liquidity protocols, not people, protocols owning its own liquidity. That hasn't happened in the last 2 years. That's some new shit. That changes everything. I mean, seriously changes everything with regard to monetary policy and bootstrapping a money system, bootstrapping a DAO. That system's capital flow and monetary velocity. Some serious, serious stuff. G-Man. Noah, given BTC potential bear market and backing per time, do you think there's a better entry point for Wonderland despite current rebase rewards? Yeah, lower. And the best entry point for any asset is lower. And potential bear market, I don't think in terms of bear market and bull markets anymore. I think in terms of revenue streams. And when you're thinking of like buying a revenue stream, buying a business, if you're going to take capital and buy something that gives you 30% of your money, you probably want to purchase that at the lowest price point possible. So that's the art of the deal. You want to buy something when it's cheap, and fine. If you have to buy it when it's expensive, you have to consider what happens if a market becomes cheap. Is the revenue stream still going to be there? So if I buy something for $500,000 and it turns into something worth $250,000, but whether it's $500,000 or 250, still cranking out like $4 grand a week, that's all I care about. If I'm making $4 grand a week, if I buy something for $500,000 that's making $4 grand a week, and that $500,000 turns into 250, that's making $4 grand a week, I'm still making $4 grand a week. Now, it would have been nice to be able to buy that. So you're buying that $4 grand a week. So that's the thing that most people don't see in the crypto space. They see they're buying like, you know, X amount of assets. No, you're buying a revenue stream, boys and girls. You're buying the $4 grand a week. Does it matter how much the value is of the stuff you bought that's giving you $4 grand a week? Yeah, because if you bought it at 250, now you could make it $8 grand a week. You could have buy two times as much. So you want to buy it cheap so you can have more revenue stream, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to wait for it to be cheap, and you might miss out if you're trying to wait for it to be cheap. It might not ever go cheap. Point being, my rationale that gets me past that psychological complexity is don't be here to make as much money as possible. If you're here to make as much money as possible, you're going to fuck it up. And you're going to either wait for a price to collapse that will never come, or you're going to be fearful of bear markets. And what happens if Bitcoin goes to $30,000 from 60? Or what happens if Spell goes back to zero point 0.5 cents, a half a penny? Or Curve collapses to $1 and you lose 60, 70, 80% of your money. I don't think that's the appropriate way to think. Think in terms of revenue streams, and that's the way I'm attacking these markets. Alex, conclusion, it's heading in the right direction. Yes, yes, it is. 5 to 10 year time horizon. I expect all these markets to run multiples. Fubear, read the RPG aspect. Just for reference, EVE Online is a space RPG with a very fleshed out economy. People spend thousands of actual dollars to buy in game items like spaceships and characters. Next, that's right, World of Warcraft, Diablo. Diablo 2, that was my shit back in the day. Logan, say you got 10 to 20 and you're looking to start a pizza business, what chain pharma strategy would you implement? I love folks wanting to come to me for help, but I don't, I can't tell you guys what to do, because if you fuck up and lose your money, it's got to be on you. I don't have any of those SEC uh, um, certifications to custody money, and you have to be, that's part of the education process. You have to be responsible for your own capital. Why is that so important? Because the general public currently has absolutely zero responsibility. They literally give their capital to a bank who shafts them good. And if the bank fucks up, the federal government says, here's FDIC insurance. So if the bank fucks up and shafts the people good, the government steps in and says, okay, we're going to take care of you. We're going to baby you. Don't cry. We'll take care of you. The whole system is designed to baby the crap out of people. Man up, put some big boy pants on, get a hardware wallet, and figure this shit out one step at a time. Sorry, guys. I'm hitting it hard. But that's what you guys want, and that's what you guys need. Now, because I'm saying you put the big boy pants on and you crank out a hardware wallet, take your time. Which means, all right, buy some stable coins on Coinbase and Gemini. Look at what we're looking at right now on the screen, Aave. You buy some stable coins. You get Gemini dollars, GUSD. You get 23% on your money. You don't need to take your money and buy some volatile shit. You don't need to buy an asset because you're not going to be able to process the volatility. I mean, here, you're not going to be able to process 50% swings in a week. You put in your 20 grand and here, look at this time frame. Date range, 4 days, 16 hours. Price range, 50%. In 4 days, 16 hours, you lost 50% of your money. Now this is just being hard hitting. I don't mean to make anyone feel bad or anything. Logan, if you put 10 grand, 20 grand into Spell, in 4 days, you lost, your 20 grand was worth 10 grand. And this is what this is part of my points. New people getting into this space aren't going to be able to process that kind of volatility because look at the chart from an experience standpoint. A lot of people in the stream right now as well would see this chart and be like, holy shit, it looks ridiculously incredible. That's a classic triangular compression. One, two waves down, three waves down, finding support on a 50 SMA. I believe the red is a 10 SMA. Red is a 10 SMA. You don't have three waves down in a triangular compression necessarily. Well, maybe two waves down in a falling wedge. But point being, this looks like a good chart. And it's much easier to stomach those 50% drawdowns if you're already up like 5,000%, but that's another story. First, if you're getting into the crypto space, I tell everyone 23% on dollars, that's crazy sauce. That's crazy sauce. You're going to have to figure out how to click stuff on Ledger. You're going to have to first. You're then not going to have to stomach the concept of gas prices, spending $200, $300, $400 on transactions. Oh, maybe you want to go over to Avalanche. What is a bridge? How are you going to stomach a bridge? You're going to have to learn it and understand it for what it is. You're going to have volatility with most of these assets. Get 5% on USDT, whoopee do. It's kind of boring. So this brings up, it starts a big question, Logan. What do you do with 10 to 20 grand? Because you have all these risk considerations. If you go over to Joe on Avalanche, let's take a look real quick. I know I'm taking you down the rabbit hole here. Oh, give it a second. So farming rewards. Let this load. Give it a second. Come on, baby. Accept. Pool. All right, give it a sec. Food Bear, this is ostensibly against the game's terms of service, but they don't enforce it much, just a CYA, because there's a lot of scamming on the site that trades the game assets for fiat and regulatory issues. Yeah, by the way, all that stuff is taxable income when you sell for fiat. So it's just a hot mess. And the IRS, the SEC, the CFTC, and government think they actually have control over everything, and it's just a mess. I don't understand why they're trying to enforce the way they are. They're only hurting themselves. They're only hurting the government. They're not helping their citizens, and it's just a completely out of whack system. Um, is a 1x or double saying the same? Well, 100% return on your money, a 1x or doubling your money. Those are all valid statements, my friend. Foo Bear, if this was legit on a crypto token, it would be hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in item exchanges. Just one game. Not following you on that one. EVE Online, it's probably worth a fortune. Exactly. And there'd be a lot of taxes. Technically, when you're exchanging any of those assets, it's all taxable. And that's why. What's the difference between the crypto space and World of Warcraft? What's the difference? So I jumped over showing you guys some yields on Trader Joe at the moment. It's not loading. It's probably not loading because I'm on the stream and everything gets bogged down. So sorry, Logan. No more about what to buy. I'm going to keep it going. Um, Hunter, we can do better. Critical mass. I'm about to go deeper into spell. I need some encouragement. Encourage me. What does deeper mean? More of a capital allocation? Yes, find comfort in your allocation because I think it's a great asset. It cranks out a huge amount of revenue, and I think it's going to appreciate significantly. The potential scale and scope of the ecosystem hasn't touched on anything like it's capable of becoming. You know, the amount of capital produced by MIM, the amount of debt taken to create MIM, is nowhere near where it could potentially be. They could go 10x. There's no reason this thing isn't going up against USDC to the point where you're looking at a chart that looks like this. You know that's the extent of the price action thus far. You start seeing 25 cents. 50 cents, and everything's at the bottom. How do you put things into perspective like that? But then you come down here and watch this. Watch the volatility. How does a new entrant to the crypto space process this? Check this out. When the asset first launched, you're talking about an 86% drawdown, and then a 70% drawdown, give or take. 70% drawdown, and then a 55% drawdown. So three massive losses of capital. If you put 20 grand into the crypto space, into Spell when it launched, you lost 86% of your money. That sounds like Amazon back in 2000. This looks like, in a matter of a couple of months, it looks like 15 years worth of corrections in the stock market. 2000, 2008, and pick one of the shit shows that happened in the 2020s, the 2010s. And then, boom, 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 and it just kept going up all the way. And that's what happened. So, and this could all be completely marginalized. All of it. This could be the beginning of the chart. Down and to the left. And then you see a big fat leg up. And now some bigger compressions. And, I don't know, some shit. And then you're up at 50 cents. So yeah, bear in mind you're at a penny. Maybe you go at 50x on the money from here. I don't know. I don't like speculating too much. Instead, I like focusing on today and right now. Today we have one heck of a triangular compression. And we'll see what happens. We'll only know in hindsight what plays out. So I have my eyes on that triangular compression. I have my eyes on curve pushing up against historic resistance. Hey, look at that. 310. Oh man, this deserves to break sooner than later. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. 66 people in the stream, 33 likes. We can do better. You like 4-year locks, McBond? Yes, I do. So why wouldn't you consider a hex stake? Fuck my life. Uh, okay. Okay. I give you guys an answer. Because the asset doesn't do anything. That's why. In spirit, you're locking for 4 years, and transaction fees on the platform, that's where the value comes from. With Hex, it's not a utility asset. It actually doesn't do anything. It's kind of useless in that regard. It's just an inflationary asset. So I don't find it interesting. So that's the thing. Plenty of people are going to make a fortune. Great, good. Yay. I tell you guys all the time, I'm not in this to make as much money as possible. I'm in this to understand what I'm interacting with, the protocols and the technology, and I'm here to respect my what I see and my intellectual capacity to understand these systems. I just find Hex boring. I don't care if it goes up in value. All you're doing is staking it, and the protocol is 40% inflationary. That's boring. All it has really is social media presence, and that's impressive. That's cool. Richard did a ridiculous job with that. That is certainly not trivial. That is possibly the most significant component of a money system. Is trust, faith, and all that good shit. So he created a beast. Good. I like that. I don't need to buy it. I don't need to make as much money as possible. I don't. And that's okay. I hope that helps. That's the way my brain thinks about it, Mickman. Mike Pie made it. Woo! Happy Friday, y'all. Different this time. Yeah, just bought 10% more CVX CRV. Alex, my Jello analogy. That was the worst damn analogy, but I like Jello too, so cool. Tyler, they protect you from that DYDX airdrop. I am protected. The U.S. government protects me. The SEC protects me. We are protected. Say it with me. We are protected. Woo. Yeah, we are so protected. Mike Pye, only trust Ohm Treasury. Well, there's many treasuries, and that's the whole point of what Olympus Pro is building, where protocols can build their own treasury, which sets a risk-free price for assets, which is extraordinary because that introduces the whole bond concept to the crypto space. And that's downright fascinating from a monetary policy standpoint. Foo Bear, trust no one. Trust no one but yourself and your wife. Don't trust your kids. Trust is earned. Trust is not enforced. So trust people when they earn your trust. Watch out with those kids. They're little sneaky little fuckers. I love my daughters. I'm just playing with you guys. I love my daughters. I trust them. Not with my life, but I trust them. Mike Pye, if only there was more MIM to borrow on spell, ohm, and time. There isn't because they're being prudent. And that's the difference between protocols. Either prudence, they're building a reputation. They're letting the jello solidify. Shit like that. That's the deal. Mike Pye, Eve is awesome. Practice playground for crypto. Possibly. Yes, indeedy. Tyler, that's right. My man. G-Man, thoughts on DeFi that allows crypto options contract trading? I have no interest in trading. I have no interest in short-term capital gains. I have no interest in options. Klaus, Eve is so damn deep. Yes, it is. Uniswap or Paraswap? Paraswap. I like aggregators until 1inch decide to fuck themselves over. Crypto Mass, thanks so far. Staking spell, but want to increase position and then do some fun stuff. Well, fun stuff, but be rational, be prudent, extend due diligence. Don't try to make as much money as possible, and the odds are you will make more money than if you tried to make as much money as possible. That's the deal, boys and girls. Friday, October 22nd at 12:40 p.m. As always, I thank everyone for joining me. Tell everyone to subscribe. After party on Discord. Ask Fizz are going hot. I got a bunch of Ask Fizz I got to make right about now after I get off the stream. So if I didn't get to your question, pop it in an Ask Vid. I'll respond to you. My link to my Twitter profile is in the video's description. You'll see the Ask Vid link in there. So I wish everyone a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. I will catch you guys on Monday. I will see you then.